Greetings and hallucinations to all you folks out there. It is the return of the long-awaited Epics entries. This is going to be a very long team game, so settle in, simmer down, grab some food, and get ready for some team play. The map is Mesmerizing Paradise, which I'm sure a few of you at least have played on. It is a pretty cool map, I gotta say. There is an absolute overwhelming metric crap ton of reclaim in the middle of this map. I cannot put into words the sheer amount of tonnage in metal strewn about the center of this map. So you better get your ACU up there, as these guys are doing, and some engineers and some combat units, and possibly drop the entire team's ACUs into the center just to get that early kill and claim the early mass. The rest of the map is kind of a balance between Navy, which does go all the way around the back, which is kind of cool. You can play it out like Settons, but it doesn't work like Settons because you can actually get naval units into the back. There is no turtle that is safe from the Navy. And we've got expansion islands, mexes strewn about all over the place, and then, yeah, a few core mexes and basically setting up and building. So let's go ahead and introduce the players in this game, and without further ado, we will dive straight into the action. We've got, I don't know, Pianitsa? Something like that. Going Aeon. We've got Ultimatum as Seraphim, SP-Com, I imagine that's Subcom 32 as Yellow Cybran, and then Tech 9 taking Aeon. On the northern side, we have Steerpike going Seraphim, Mr. Fox taking UEF, Acer going Aeon, and last but certainly not least, Damiani taking Aeon in the rear slot, which can be air or navy, take your pick. It doesn't really matter as long as you do something to support your teammates with long game strategies. Looks like we're going to have two comms to the center immediately from the northern, well, not really northern, the right-hand team, and a later second comm for the left-hand team. But something tells me we're not really going to see a whole lot of combat because these guys are going to be more concerned with sucking up the wrecks, and my voice is breaking already. I don't know how I'm going to make it through this cast, but we will get it done. This is going to give a huge reclaim advantage to the right-hand team, which can actually be game deciding on this map. One thing that I would encourage people to do, if they're able to, get two commanders out to the front, throw down a point defense in the largest segment of the reclaim. And unless the other guys have the forethought to send a Tech 1 artillery with their ACU, you can actually get a lot of the reclaim and bottleneck the map that way. And then you've got to remember too, a drone from UEF is actually very handy on this map. You can go ahead and snag this reclaim up here with a drone. Otherwise, you will need to drop a Tech 1 engineer up there in order to get the most out of that mast. And we got these two ACUs together that force Steerpike into the water. We have some brilliant raiding going on with Auroras hammering away at these power generators and engineers, but there is an artillery headed up there that's going to kill those off, and they were not accompanied by a scout. Shame on Piranitsa. You need to send a land scout with the Auroras because, as I've pointed out many times in the past, the vision radius is smaller than the attack radius, so you actually lose, oh, well, not a lot of, you lose the entire strength of the Aurora when you do not send a land scout with that unit so that it can attack from range. We've got Mr. Fox taking fire from some Zooies down in the center. It looks like most of the reclaim in the center has been snagged. There's still some Tech 3 wrecks that will serve to tech up the team in the back as the game progresses, but for the most part the middle is done. Had a Tech 1 bomber coming across. I really wish it would have hit these. It could have killed that, I think, and it is going to get snagged by some well-placed interceptors from Damiani. This is interesting over here. There is a huge patch of reclaim in these rocks here, tons of mass in these, and Tech 9 is actually going to snag those for himself with a drop, and then we've got engineers over here that are going to reclaim those. The islands honestly don't get enough attention. There are 9 mass extractors in the expansions out here, but a lot of times I don't really see people fighting over those. There's not often a whole lot of aggression on these outer corners of the map. Usually it's kind of focused in the center here. This turns into a land battle, even though Navy is probably the stronger factor. Now, I say that knowing full well that if the game gets past about minute 25, Cybran destroyers are a tremendously popular choice in here because, of course, you can park them in the bays here and they can lay down a whole lot of fire on a whole lot of land area. And Ultimatum is apparently content to shed health. He did get that Tech 2 upgrade, so that is a win on his part. He has 5k health left, and that did give him a little extra regen and a little extra health, and once he escapes, he will be able to throw down some point defense and deal with the unit problems. It looks like we've got full-on Tech 1 spam from both Mr. Fox and, what's his face? Steerpike, that is who is over there. Steerpike is going to be a little more useful because he does have the Zooies, and those are going to be able to cross the water. Way too many Lobos from Mr. Fox. Those are not good anti-unit units, and you need to mix in more tanks when you are UEF. The Lobo spam is not going to cut it. Those are going to die slowly but surely on the front. Ultimatum is actually taking way too much fire, not dodging as effectively as he could with that ACU. He is going to land some hits there and start thinning out the herd once again. Actually, if he gets one more kill, he's going to get a veterancy anyway. But the Lobos are brutal, absolutely brutal. They have a tremendous alpha strike, so you do not want to take too many hits from those. Lots of air. I was not expecting this much air. We've got, oh, well, most of those are scouts, so that is actually ridiculous. Acer guy is overbuilding scouts by about 50 here and clogging up the airspace. Damiani is doing an incredibly good job of fielding interceptors, and he does actually have enough interceptors to go ahead and kill off these swift winds coming in from Tech 9, but as the game progresses, Tech 9 is gradually going to overtake that interceptor swarm with his superior swift winds. We've got torpedo bombers coming out now for Acer guy. Those are starting to lay down some fire onto the Navy going up here in the bay. We've got a Tech 2 gunship heading across right here that is going to start harassing the outside mechs, but I think Damiani will be able to deny that pretty easily, but Acer is going to beat it to him. He does beat him to it. He does have some interceptors of his own. Now we're seeing the Aurora spam taking over the map. Aurora spam does beat Zooey spam. For all you people who think that Seraphim is ridiculously OP, they do have one weakness. The Zooey will die to Auroras. And we do have an occasional blaze in here as well. There is a Tech 2 factory down that way, and 3 tack launchers. Not 1, not 2, but 3 starting to lay down some very strong fire over here. Already got a Monkey Lord. Minute 13, all of that reclaim is being put to use by SP. He is intent on getting that thing up. Really did not contribute anything else of note to the game, but he is going to try to ram that Monkey Lord as far as he can into the right side and try to deal a ton of damage. With the Tech 2 gunships that we're seeing right here, that Aurora spam was cleaned up. There was a significant amount of damage to that base, but it is not a losing situation, so that is a good thing to see. Damiani does have his resource allocation online, and he's got ASF in the air. That is going to give advantage air to the northern side, but Tech 9 is really not very far behind at all. Comments on these naval factories, they are now correctly placed. You never want to build naval factories right here because they are very easy to kill from this side. Had an attempted snipe there with Tech 2 gunships, but that was killed off very quickly by Tech 9 and Ultimatum combined with their interceptor. So very well done on the teamwork there, guys. That was a very nice save. Looks like we've got mobile missile launchers shooting in here. Oh my. No. No. Kaboom. Piranitsa is down and out. That was the strongest spam on the northern side, and it is now out of here. Sitting still way too long. He was ground fired by those TAC missiles. No, that wasn't even water. Never mind. He's standing on dry land, simply targeted by those TAC missiles, and he is now out of the game. Looks like the Monkey Lord is now headed up the middle. Is there enough to stop it? That is the question. We had a TAC launch that is just barely going to miss that, well, by a fairly decent margin. So that is not going to hit. Got Tech 2 gunships coming down, but there is air cover coming in. Damiani needs to engage because that Monkey Lord needs to die el pronto. It is vetting up on these Tech 1 and Tech 2 units. Mr. Fox running for his life. He needs to turn around and overcharge that thing in the face. He did, but it was not enough. Mr. Fox is going to go down in flames. It is now an even game. 3 versus 3. And actually the same exact player got killed, but this Monkey Lord is now free to rampage across Steerpike's base. He's going after that other ACU, and this is starting to really not look pretty. We're losing all these factories, all this build power. That Monkey Lord is vetting up continually. It is already back above half health, and Tech 2 gunships coming in to harass it, but I don't think they're laying down enough damage to deal with that Monkey Lord effectively. Got a strat bomber coming out, more Tech 2 bombers, and we've got Navy on the right hand side. As I was observing earlier, Navy does play a huge part in this game, especially when you've got the Exodus class, very strong destroyer that is going to be able to lob projectiles 80 distance up into this base. That is going to give him a whole lot of coverage right there. Knock out most of the mass extractors along this side and do a whole lot of damage all the way around. And he is going to get into the back. Damiani only has 2 destroyers versus 4. And then there are a whole lot of Tech 1 subs up here as well. So Damiani, it looks like he won the air game. He is going to keep control of air. And actually Acer has gone Tech 3 air as well. It looks like he is building strat bombers, but Damiani is going to lose the Navy game. However, Aeon, if you do not send cruisers with your Aeon Navy, you're gonna have a bad time because the destroyers do not have their own anti-air. Looks like we're about to lose an ACU down here unless there is a brilliant little bit of micro, some fancy footwork, and a good interception. And it looks like that strat bomber is going to die. Got a shield up, so that is safe. Aeon does not have anti-air on their destroyers, so a handful of Tech 2 gunships can do catastrophic damage to the Aeon Navy, but they do make up for that by having the single best anti-air unit. The Aeon Cruiser is a phenomenal anti-air platform for the Aeon Navy, and it does its job incredibly efficiently. Has a high projectile speed and very good range and damage numbers. Launches once per second, so it does very little overkill, and the projectile travels so quickly that it can actually knock down 1 or 2 Tech 2 torpedo bombers before the bombers can even drop. They can't even get in range to hit the thing. You have to send 5 or 6 or 7 at a time to kill it in one pass, and it will usually kill most of those as they fly over. So there are some that are arguably stronger in certain specific situations, but overall I would take the Aeon Cruiser any day. Couple it with a couple of mobile shields, and you are good to go. Pretty well safe from torpedoes in any shape or form. Monkey Lord dropping back into this base, popping up from the water, coming around, is getting within reach of Steerpike's ACU, and it is gone. It is now a 2-player game on the northern side. Damiani and Acer Guy are going to have to turtle up a little bit and protect their flanks. Otherwise, they are going to be in a whole mess of troubles. Those strat bombers and Tech 2 gunships have finally taken out that Monkey Lord. That thing has caused more grief for this team than any Tech 4 has a right to do. And let's see here. Are they building another? There's a megalith going down. There is a lot of air production back here. Good amount of naval production. Got a little bit of reclaim going. Not nearly enough, I would think. And then on the northern side, let's see. Sorry, I'm zipping around here a little bit, guys, but trying to examine the battlefield to the best of my capabilities to make sure I don't miss anything. We've got a Tsar up here. Caesar, Tsar, Khazar, whatever. I have lost track of how I even pronounce the thing anymore because everyone muddles everything up. Alright. That is actually going to be a very strong tool because there's not a whole lot of stationary anti-air on the southern side. There are, well, Subcom does have enough to kill the Tsar, I think, but not before he dies himself. I think that Caesar is going to do an extraordinary amount of damage regardless of those SAMs. And then over here we only have 1 SAM and none in the back and no cruisers in the Navy still. And Damiani does have a very good stranglehold on air. So this Caesar is going to be a very useful tool, even though sometimes, well, actually most of the time, it is basically a donut with a side of suicide. Did you guys ever make suicide cola? It's where you go to the fountain drink section and you take a cup and you go all the way down the line of fountain drinks and put a shot of everything in it, and then you're left with this like reddish tinted brown mess that looks incredibly nasty. And when you fly your ASF over it, it kind of disintegrates them like acid because the flavor is really weird. But then it's strange. I don't know. I guess as a kid, your taste buds are different, because I really like the stuff, and I always did that with my little brother. And then I don't know exactly when that kind of fell out of style, but oh well. I don't drink suicide anymore. Okay. Yeah, suicide in a donut for breakfast would be terrible. I would have indigestion for the rest of the day. These interceptors are going to go poof. There is a flak and a SAM online there. 2 SAMs, actually. 4, 5. I keep getting corrected because they're still building SAMs. And, Damiani is going to have a little trouble with that engagement. Not a good turn at all. Caesar is going to get knocked down. Minimal damage to the ASF cloud. Holy cow, that was bad. Very, very bad. That hurt to watch. At least the Caesar dropped where they can get the reclaim on this side of the map, and it's not going to be a free mass gift to the other side. Still waiting for a nuke to pop up somewhere. Usually there is a nuke on this map, but I don't see one yet. We've got a Galactic Colossus in the back here, lots of extra T3 gens, good amount of build power, both Navy and air. Acer guy is building a GC of his own, so we've got 2 Galactic Colossuses is about to head up to the mid, and I know there was a Megalith around here somewhere. There it is. I was looking right at it, but the dot had not appeared yet. That Megalith is going to get done, so 2 GCs will trump a Megalith, and we do have air power still, lots of strap bombers, lots of gunships. I don't think the Megalith is going to be an immediate concern, so they should be able to take care of that. Tech 9 is pretty much sitting where he's been this whole time. Looks like Damiani is going to rout the Navy at the same time as he is demolishing the air. He's going to wipe out all of this Navy with his gunships. Hopefully he will save some air for the oncoming Megalith. Going to drop some engineers right here by the Caesar. Going to eat that donut for breakfast and recycle it into something a little bit more beautiful, possibly a shined up turd. No, it is going to be another Caesar. We've got Blazes, nice little unit mix down here. He does have air control, so he's not too terribly worried about the cruiser aspect of things. That is going to allow him to project a lot of power out across the water. Actually, I think there's still an equal number of destroyers up here, but a lot of them are damaged. And of course, as has been mentioned all along here, air is the problem for the left side team. Damiani does have a very strong air build. He comes from the Setton's line of things, learning his air build over there, so that is pro level eco whore. You don't want to mess with people once they get their eco up and running. Let's see here. We've got, that is about a third of the way done. Damiani laying down some more power. Let's go ahead and take a peek at his situation. Minus a whole bunch. But he did suck up that Tsar. There's still so much reclaim out here. Why are these guys not reclaiming? There's an entire freaking Monkey Lord wreck over there, and no one has laid a finger on it. Gonna chase this Navy back towards the base down here. Got a very large engagement with the ASF. Tech 9's production is actually pretty dang impressive, being able to get that many online after taking that hard of a loss about 5 game minutes ago. Got a battleship up as well over here, and we've got the Megalith coming southward. So I don't think the naval propositions for Damiani were nearly as strong as I thought they were. I did not take that Megalith into the equation. That is going to put a hurting on these guys. And another flight, another group of destroyers coming out of the factories right there. So that is going to be a naval loss for Damiani, and that's going to drop a lot of reclaim. Finally seeing that Monkey Lord reclaimed. Acer guy picked it up, Although he can be excused for not knowing any better because he is only a 700 rated player. Got the GC out front, got another GC well over half done, and the Tsar is headed out. Hopefully this time it will be a little bit safer, won't die quite so quickly. I hope Damiani won't throw this one away. Still got Tech 1 mass extractors in the back here. That is kind of strange, although that may have gotten killed by the Navy the last time it was around in the back, so that may be understandable. Alright, Tsar gonna get knocked down. Not even gonna drop on the ACU. Gonna hit a pretty much useless target there. And that is the end of the Caesar. That is gonna give a huge amount of mass right to the southern team. That was an attempted drop with those strats, but they did not get it. Very nice interception from Tech 9. Good micro on his part. This is starting to not look as good for the northern team. They had a good advantage for a very long time, but it looks like it is starting to slip. We've got Tech 3 stationary artillery going down in the back. That is going to reach the entire map, I think. Well, not the entire thing, but essentially, yes, it can reach the entire landmass. So that is going to be a very useful tool if they can get it up. Tech 9 did manage to get naval control other than these on the northern side, but I think he still has more than enough to take care of that. And he also has the assistance of this megalith if he gets in a jam. So we've got a Thotha going down here, sucking up those Strat Bomber wrecks and all the other reclaim they can get their hands on. Those engineers are going to be a great help in getting that thing online. They need to get it up quickly because these two GCs are kind of toying with the idea of coming southwards. Looks like the Navy in the back is going to make a play. Tech 9 does need to get his units over to the left-hand side very quickly, because if he does not, he is going to lose all of this stuff that he's built. Again, these are Exodus class as well, just as I observed up here, and they do have the potential to damage things quite a ways in from the water, so you definitely want to keep those as far away from your base as you possibly can. Got regular scouts going out for the left-hand team, very nice to see. Looks like we have an emissary built to about the same level as down here. Actually, it is further. It is twice as far along. So kudos to Acer Guy for getting that thing up. That must be where he's been sticking his reclaim. The GC is going to head towards the south. It is a very large landmass down there, and the GC is not going to have any problem whatsoever firing at the Navy while standing on land. On the northern side, I still don't see a nuke that I know of. No, I don't think there is. No, there's not. Alright, on the southern side, there is also not a nuke. There is nuke defense, but there is not a nuke. There's nuke defense over here as well. Essentially, right now, that nuke defense is wasted mass because the northern side does not have a nuke launcher, but I really can't argue with building a nuke defense at minute 40 because that would prevent you from being surprised by a nuke launcher. You have the eco rolling at this time to build one without hurting your combat capabilities. It's basically like TMD at this stage of the game, so there's no reason not to build it, but it still is astounding to me that no one has built a nuke at almost 45 minutes into this game. Usually that is a staple past 30 minutes. It looks like the air game is getting stronger on the southern side. Tech 9 does have the assistance of both of his teammates in building ASF. Yeah, if they micro together, I think they actually do have more than Damiani. So as long as they don't do anything stupid, they should be able to maintain air control and even advance in air. There's a lot of Tech 2 gunships online over here. Those will be able to extend without too much terrifying lockdown. And there's a bunch of SAM creep on this side, but it looks like the blazes are going to come in and try to eliminate some of that. We do have a megalith and a chicken over on the left, though, so that is going to put a damper on that party. Not a whole lot of Tech 2 units going to get through that. In reality, you're just vetting them. You might as well control K the units because they're actually hurting you when they attack the Yathatha. Kind of a backwards way of looking at it, but it is the truth, I do promise. There is so much mass in this pond over here. Got that megalith and chicken facing off versus those units. Of course, both of them, well, yeah, megalith can just barely fire every once in a while as its gun pops up above the water, and there it is above the water now. I didn't realize the megalith was so short compared to the chicken. That is kind of an interesting perspective to look at it from. But the megalith does have those brilliant shoulder-mounted cannons, which are oh so nice, because you can park the entire behemoth under the water and just have the very tops of the cannons poking out to shoot things. And the Athoth is kind of cool because the it can fire while it's fairly deep in the water. Yathatha is very, very tall. So both of those units are going to be very handy in edge combat with Navy. Looks like we've got a restorer blob from Damialny. Of course, the restorers are slow and they do not compete mass for mass with ASF, so you're going to want to still have ASF, but Damialny looks like he's doing a pretty dang good job of using his air effectively, which is no less than I would expect. Let's see, we've got another Galactic Colossus going down, still the same amount of build power, still building Navy, and I spy Tech 3 artillery fire. It looks like the duel of the Arties has begun. We've already lost a power generator down here. Nothing on the northern side, but Acer Guy is building shields like a freaking maniac. He is keeping those things online in order to protect that artillery. On the southern side, there's not nearly so many built for Tech 9, but he does appear to have enough that he's able to keep it relatively safe. I say that kind of reluctantly, and no, there is a direct hit from that Artie, penetrated the shields. I think that may have actually been a power stall on Tech... Nah, I doubt it. But that was a direct hit nonetheless between the power generator exploding and the direct hit to the artillery. That T3 Artie is going to go down. So, sad, sad day for the Southern team. And why? Why is this happening? We're building a experimental nuke launcher. Kudos, by the way, on building that so quickly. That is actually an insanely fast Yathatha in terms of where we're at in the game and how fast that thing is building. But he's building it on the front. That is well within reach of any intruding strat bombers. Yeah, I know he has a bunch of SAMs out here, but still, stack up 50 strat bombers on top of each other and you can't stop that in that amount of distance. So I don't understand why that's happening. Finally got our air engagement here over mid because all of those Tech 4 were coming together to meet in the field of battle. It looks like, tentatively speaking, Supreme Commander is going to come out the winner in that. He has most of the health still on that megalith, and this GC is a bit low. So it looks like we are going to have a T4 win for the southern side, but that is at the expense of air control because Acer, together with Damialny, even though it's mostly Damialny with the accompaniment of Acer, have managed to take air control back over despite being just a little ways away from these SAMs. So it is not as huge of a help as it normally would be when you can reach out and damage things and kill bases and potentially snipe ACUs with air, but it is still a strong factor in their favor even though there is so much static defense over on that side. As Megalith is surviving with 19,000 health after killing that GC, we've got another GC up here that's full health that can easily wipe out that Megalith if it chooses to turn around and come back and attack it, which I would strongly encourage Damialny to do, and it looks like he is doing such things. Gonna take a peek back down here. We've got another megalith on the way for SUPCOM. No attempt to rebuild the T3RD, which is kind of weird on the part of Tech 9, but I guess he just didn't want to get in that duel. And the Alana Os has been finished. I think this is officially the first time that I have legit casted a Tech 4 nuke. I think there was one stupid game a very long time ago that I had one in, but it was not what I would call a real game. But here we are in a locked-in, deadlock match. I'm getting confused with my words. With a dead tie match, even strength on both sides, and we've actually got a Alana Os online. So this is going to be interesting to see how this turns out. Damiani has 2 GCs, and it looks like Acer Guy has a 3rd. So this is going to probably go in favor of the northern team on any engagement that happens here, because they do have 3 T4s to basically nil on the southern side, and they do have air control. Now, one thing that is going for this team is that they have the Tech 3 artillery installation online, so that could potentially kill the Alana Os if it is retargeted at the correct location. But question is, do they have nuke defense? Because that is about to launch. There's 2 nuke defense in this one right here. First launch from the Alana Os, that is going to be knocked down by this defense, but I don't think there's a secondary defense. That GC is bearing down on that nuke defense hard. But even if it doesn't die, there are no more anti-nukes, so that's not going to be a big deal. The Alana Os is going to punch straight through the non-existent defense and wipe out a player on the next launch. It never ceases to amaze me how ginormo gargantuan the attack radius of the Alana Os is. The freaking distance that nuke covers when it strikes is absolutely mind-boggling. And the only way to survive it is to take the 1,000,001 chance to be taking the step from the inner to outer ring at exactly the right time so that the computer doesn't count the damage on your ACU. I have seen it happen. It was an incredible fluke, and it actually got featured on one of Shepard's awesome fail videos. You should totally go check out his YouTube channel if you have not. It is the Forged Alliance Colonel. That is an incredible video series, just awesome moments from Supreme Commander. He edits conglomerations. That is technically an appropriate word by definition, but I don't think it's the one that I'm looking for. I'm drawing a mental blank. I need my thesaurus on hand. Anyway, there is a video of an ACU surviving of the Alana Os shot, and there is the landing. The Alana Os is a really cool nuke. It actually proceeds outwards in rings with the damage. As you can see here, there is nuclear fallout from the initial blast, and it takes out everything in a huge radius. I think it technically does 1,000,000 damage on the center point of the nuke. So basically nothing can survive it. Really, really cool weapon. So that is one player down. Damiani has very little time to work with. He is pushing southwards with his GCs, it does look like. And he does have 5 anti-nukes. He's going to have a 6th loaded by the time the 3rd launch comes. So he has 2 more launches after this one that he has protected. So that gives him about 5 minutes to come up with a solution to this problem. Otherwise, he is going to get obliterated. And honestly, at this point, after losing the Tech 3 artillery, I don't know how he will be able to survive that. Looks like he is going to transport his commander out to the naval yards. No, he is going to transport it to the back. And he's going to let his units be out at the front and do his dirty work for him. Got a megalith camping out on the north shore. Those 3 GCs could easily kill that. Got another Alana Os launch. I think that thing loads like once a minute, if I'm not totally mistaken. It does load extremely quickly, and it works very well with assistance when you throw assistance on it. So you can see in the time it took it to travel that little bit across the map, it was already halfway to building another one. The one disadvantage to the Ilana Os is the fact that it cannot hold multiple nukes in queue. It always builds one and then stops until that nuke is launched. So you want to keep the thing firing at all times as best you can. And Damiani, oh my word. I can't believe that. We had all of this epic stuff going on, multiple T4s, Tech 3 artillery, Ilana Os, air engagements, all of this stuff going on, and what does he die to? He doesn't unload from his Tech 2 transport, and a handful of ASF skirts the entire outside edge of the map to go kill that transport. That is either incredibly sad and I'm gonna sit here and cry in a corner, or that is one of the funniest things that I have seen today. I can't decide which. I don't want to make fun of the guy, but that was bad. That was really bad. All right, the ultimate anticlimactic ending to an epic cast. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I know I did. That was a pretty interesting game with the way that it moved back and forth. Got to see a little bit of everything. And first legit cast of a Ilana Os. So there is the Tech 4 Seraphim experimental nuke. Alrighty, that is going to wrap it up for this game. Hopefully you guys will tune in for the next one as well. I will see you over there. Thank you so much for watching.